Good morning, I'm Velvet with Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and I'm a sewing educator here at one of our 11 locations in the Pacific Northwest. And thank you for joining me for How Do I? Have you ever gotten a twin needle with your sewing machine and you're unsure of what to do with this? Well, today I'm here to share with you all you need to know about your twin needles. So, twin needles come in a variety of different sizes, styles, and widths apart for each of the needles. So here I have an array of different types of our twin needles, and they have a variety of different widths to them, which means the spacing of the two needles themselves. So this package I have here is 1.6 millimeters apart, as indicated here on our packaging. And they go up from there. So here we have a 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 4, and even a 6 millimeter with needle spacing. Along with the needle spacing, we also have needle sizes. So this package here is this 80 size, as indicated up here at the top. But they also go up or down from there depending on the thickness of fabric that you're going to be using for your twin needles. You also have styles of needles that our twin needles come in. So these are universal, which is what I'll be using today. They work well with most of our projects, but if you need something for a specialty reason like stretch fabric, embroidery, or working on a heavier fabric like denim, they make those options as well. So I'm going to show you how to put the twin needle in your machine. So your twin needle consists of two needles and a plastic shank in the middle that holds the two of them together. The top of it looks like similar to a just standard sewing machine needle, and these work well in most of your domestic sewing machines. So we're going to go over to our needle area here, and I've already taken out my standard needle. I'm going to go ahead and place this in place of where you would have your normal needle, and I'm just going to go ahead and screw that in. Now that that's in place, I'll need to tell the sewing machine that I'm using a twin needle. This isn't necessarily true for all sewing machines, but the model that I'm using today does have a button that I will press on the front that will indicate that I'm using a twin needle. This is because some models are going to have stitches that you cannot use with a twin needle, and the machine will give me an error message if there is a stitch that I choose that I cannot operate with a twin needle. So now with our threads. So I typically just use standard polyester thread for my twin needles. It works well for most of your projects, but you can use lots of different types of threads. Here I have a couple different options you can utilize. We have embroidery thread, quilting thread. It's variegated, so it would add a fun touch to some of the decorative stitches you can do with your twin needle. Glow-in-the-dark thread, and even metallic thread. Any one of these threads can be used for this option. It's just a matter of testing it out and trying it and see what results that you get. Now, as for how to hold the thread on your machine, you're either going to need an external spool stand, and these usually come with your sewing machine. Sometimes they're a little bit larger than this, and they actually sit on your bobbin winder. But this one in particular has a small hole up here at the top for the machine that it just sticks into where my second spool can live. So normally I would use two spools of the same color if I was going to do top stitching, which is a technique you can do with your twin needle. So the twin needle takes the two needles and makes two straight stitches down the front, while it pulls the bobbin thread to both sides to make a zigzag appearance on the back. So I'm going to place one of my spools on here and one on my second spool stand. If we do not have a spool stand that came with your machine, you can always get one. So this here is an adjustable thread stand. This actually can live at the back of your sewing machine, and it's adjustable so it's easy to store. We do carry these on our website, qualitysewing.com, so feel free to visit that if you need to pick one up. So as for my threading, you want to thread one at a time. You want to make sure that you don't get any of these threads tangled when you do this. So I'm going to start with my left thread because I find that one to be the easiest one to start with for me, but it is personal preference. So thread your sewing machine as normal. Make sure your presser foot is up when you thread. Another important thing to remember is that depending on the model of sewing machine that you have will dictate how it is placed into your tension disc. Your tension disc lives inside the top of the machine here in the threading area, usually in this first channel that you go down. Some models of the sewing machines are going to have a small metal plate that sticks out the top of the machine, which will indicate if you're going to use a twin needle, if you're going to put your left thread to the left side and your right thread to the right side. With this model in particular today, both threads are going to go into the same area. So I'll continue threading here. Another very important thing to remember with our twin needles is that you cannot use a needle threader with this. You have to thread your needles by hand. All right, there we go. And we just want to make sure that the threads are not tangled or getting caught on anything or each other. Now I'm going to grab my right thread, and this is going to go in the same spot that my left thread went into. Now I'll just thread my right needle. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to start with a straight stitch, and this can be used for a couple different reasons. I can top stitch things like jeans to give me a nice clean finished edge. I can also use this to hem things like t-shirts. The bobbin thread in the back actually allows the threads to basically go back and forth and allow the fabric to retain stretch, even in things like stretch fabric. So put your presser foot down and go ahead and sew. So here is my twin needle stitch. So this is our straight stitches. And if you look at the back side of this, you'll see that the bobbin thread is being pulled back and forth to create that zigzag pattern. Now, if you don't like the way that this looks, feel free to adjust your tension. I highly recommend testing this on a scrap piece of fabric first to see what results you get. Sometimes you may need to go up higher or lower with your tension to help adjust how much it's pulling on either side of your needle. So besides just a top stitch, you can also use this for decorative stitching. And we have lots of different decorative stitches available to us on our model here that will allow us to do some really fun designs. So I'm going to use a serpentine stitch, which is really just a wave that goes back and forth. Another really interesting thing with this is if you use different needle spacings, you can get a lot of different looks with this as well. All right, let's stick. And this can be used to add embellishment to things like bags or clothing or really anything you can think of. So here is a decorative stitch. So on the top, you're going to see the two wavy stitches right next to each other. And then on the back, you'll see the bobbin thread that pulls back and forth to hold it all together. Here's an example I stitched out of a couple other decorative stitches that you can use with your twin needle. A lot of this would look really fun and fancy too in some of those metallic or sparkly threads that we have here. The last technique that you can use with a twin needle is called a pin tuck. And a pin tuck is a decorative style of stitching where the fabric is lightly pushed together using the twin needle or two parallel rows of stitches to create a really beautiful decorative look on clothing. This is very commonly used in baby clothing or antique clothing, and sometimes even in your home decor. With a pin tuck, you can use a pin tuck foot and your twin needle to get a better appearance. All right, do we have any questions for today? All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook, our Instagram, and any other social media you may find. And thank you so much for joining me for another segment of How Do I?